Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to This Land Is My Land. Now, this is a open-world sandbox survival game of sorts where you play as a Native American war chief attempting to, well, effectively survive on the frontier. You will be fighting against the quote-unquote pale-faces as the ever-expanding and unstoppable Western civilization plows its way through the frontier and moves eastwards. You are going to have to, well, try and find a way to slow them down, stop them altogether, or in any other way, shape or form, really ensure the survival of your people and your tribe. Now, that is the overall theme and I guess, the overall situation with the game. On a more sort of ground level, what you're going to do is you're going to fight settlers and various guards, companies, forts and so on along the frontier. You're going to gather... sorry. You're going to gather resources and upgrade your tribe, upgrade your camp, gather more warriors around you, form war parties later down the line, etc., etc. The game is still in a very early stage of development, and some of the older subscribers to the channel will probably remember that I have done a video on this game previously. However, it has been quite a while since I have, and the game has changed and developed further. So in this video, and I'm going to try and keep it relatively brief, I'm not going to provide a long list of changes that have happened since I've played the game. If you're interested in how the game is developing, there are change logs and developer diaries that you can read. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to tell you what the game roughly feels to play like right now, what there is to do, and I'm going to tell you some of the problems with it being in early access, and these problems hopefully will be resolved at one point or another. But for now, you manage your camp through this screen. So you click on it and you can send your warriors to tame horses, send them on patrol, send them to gather stuff, hunt, upgrade the camp, etc., etc. Now, I found that most of the time that's not worth doing because they're going to get themselves killed. Yeah, it's not ideal, but the few times that I've sent them to collect some of the most basic things like flax and wood and so on, which is abundant, you clearly see around me, most of my people have gotten themselves killed. That is, of course, very unfortunate, but it's not necessarily due to the AI being bad, it's more so how calculation is done when you're not there and when you're away from the map. I found that most of the time it's better to collect everything yourself and treat the camp as a sort of permanent base. Permanent base that you can move around, upgrade, and etc., etc. A place to house your warriors for war parties maybe later down the line. What are some of the good things about the game? Well, the crafting system is extremely detailed, and so is the skills and leveling up system. Now, thankfully, I can actually show you all of the available things that you can craft. Well, no, not entirely true. There's blueprints that you have to collect to unlock stuff, actually to just display stuff here. But as you can see, there's a ton of things that you can craft. Weapons can be crafted as well, and there is a massive variety of weapons, especially given that for the time, I think a lot of people don't really realize just how varied all the different weapons and models of the time were. There is a lot of different stuff for you to take into consideration. For example, I have this polymer repeater model of 1874. It is a low-quality rifle, however, I wouldn't actually necessarily agree with that. It is extremely loud, as you can see, which is very important. Stealth is a key part of this game because most of the time you are outgunned and outnumbered by the Westerners, if you will. Now, the bomb repeater is, you can see its effective range and killing power. It has 12 shots, and each of the shots does 111 damage, which is quite a lot. The healing system in the game has also changed to resemble something more like Escape from Tarkov, where you can heal different parts of your bodies with different medications. It's also been added, and you can also have focus on this too much, but different diseases and ailments have been added, different types of damage, different injuries, and if you turn on realistic damage in the mod, which, okay, no, in the video game, if you turn on that mode, what you're going to end up with are very deadly weapons, as they should be in my modest opinion. If you get hit by a 38 caliber, 38 caliber bullet or musket ball or something, you're going to feel it, and you're probably not going to be running around the hills willy-nilly after that's happened, needless to say. So, as a result, you end up with deadlier weapons, and the game does become harder, but it also becomes a lot more interesting, in my opinion, because the same applies to the enemies. They can bleed, they can die, they can get damaged, etc., etc. Now, in my modest opinion, the best, and yes, the game does have a first-person mode, the absolute best part of the game is the combat and the shooting. The survival elements, the overall strategy that you have to apply, like running away from the edge of the frontier, as it were, from proper cities and civilizations, which do expand across the map. And it is progressively harder and harder to live on the western side of the country, as it were, because there's more settlements popping up, they're more dense, and so on and so forth. That is all interesting, fine and well, but it also shouldn't necessarily scare you, because I remember that... this is very useful. I remember that when I started playing this game, I felt a lot of stress and pressure, and that's not necessarily something I really enjoy in most video games. It depends on the type. Anyways, I felt like the settlements on the west are constantly expanding and growing, and I need to keep running away from them, but eventually I'll get to the edge of the map and I'll be like, well, damn, what now? Yeah, that's not necessarily as big a problem as you might think, just, reading about it conceptually. It takes time for settlements to expand. It takes time for your settlement to expand as well, but perhaps a little bit more importantly, it also takes a lot of time for anything to happen that is remotely worrying on that scale. And what I mean is, the density of settlements that needs to happen in order for it to be worrying is, quite high. And as a result, you don't need to worry about all those things for the majority of the game. Shops and co-lightning marker. That is, well, it does a little bit more damage, I suppose, but that's interesting anyway. And I am overloaded, fortunately. You really cannot carry a lot of stuff with you, and that's, it's sad, but it's also kind of realistic. I mean, I'm probably carrying more than any human could, but yeah, this is an 11-pound rifle. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, let's drop it and sneak around here and see if we can interrogate a few of these guys, which is also a thing. So there's a lot of things for you to do on the actual map. A lot of it will revolve around some of the missions that you've been given, and these will be clearing out forts. Now, I'm European. When the game said forts, I imagine sort of a European-style star fort of the time. Well, actually, no, it is of the time, roughly. With thousands of people inside it and stuff. No, this is the frontier. Fort just means 5 dudes that have put up some wooden fences or something. That's what they count as a fort. It is a fortification, but yeah. Anyways, not to worry too much about that.
Everyone get ready. Here they are.
Okay. Yeah. That... I dropped the wrong rifle, didn't I? I dropped my repeater instead of what I was supposed to drop. Damn it. Well, never mind. Yep, I dropped my repeater, and when you drop it, you can't. That's effectively discarding it. You can't.
I need to reload. They're out there. See any of them? I know you're out there. Get up.
Okay, this is mildly terrifying. Yeah, the bow, really weird. There's no real impact behind it. There's, it fires instantly, so, like, you draw with right, but this is aim, and then when you click, it just loose. It just looses the arrow and just lets it fly, and it's really weird, honestly. The firearms, though, are
Hey, I see someone.
phenomenal. And I just got hit. Very unfortunate.
Everyone get. There's an enemy.
Okay, yeah, this might be the end of me.
Hey, everyone. There's a body.
Oh, I don't have anything to... Oh, I do have something to heal me with. Okay.
Who's out
Not
there?
not ideal. Not ideal. And I am bleeding, and I think that's going to be the end of me, honestly. Yeah, I will just bleed to death. Anyways, the point being, it is a tough game. It is, or especially with realistic damage and stuff, it is a very, very tough game. But, regardless of its difficulty, there we go.
It's over there somewhere.
Well, did I just fall over because of the damage to... No, that is... I've bled out. I'm dead. Or I was knocked down, which is, I think, different. Either way, not that it really matters. The performance of the game is iffy. I get significantly lower performance when I'm recording it for some reason. It doesn't like that. Oh, and you lose skill points when you die. And obviously time passes, so a bunch of stuff expanded its borders, as you can see. Weather is also a thing. A thing that's visible, at least. Though it tends to be a little bit random, like these will pop up anywhere. I'm not quite sure how useful they are. And so on and so on, effectively. I mean, there's different things for you to do. Craft objectives, the war paint and appearance changes that you can do to yourself are basically non-existent. I'm sure that you unlock them later down the line, but at the start of the game, there's not much. What are some of the problems of the game, though? The AI, as you can see, although I did end up getting killed, is because I attracted unwanted attention and ended up murdering, what, like 5 or 6 guys in a walled-off area. So yeah, not smart on my part, but that's not. They notice that you are killing mostly during the day. Enemy awareness grows during the day. Wonderful. I mean, look at these details. I'm trying to focus on sort of a couple of things and go from there, but it's really hard to do that. The world just feels alive, with expanding settlements, with enemy behavior changing, with all these different things. I mean, the enemy's reacting to how you play. This is so in-depth and thought out, and yet it needs a lot more work. The problem is, as you can see, the AI pathfinding isn't the best. The game movement and combat don't feel very responsive and crisp. I mentioned the bow being a little bit of a problem now. I've lost, I think, pretty much everything that I've had with me, but we can craft it back and get it back, that's fine. I do genuinely love the details, but something that maybe would have been a little bit more, I guess, important in my mind, is to make sure that the combat flows and feels right, and so does the movement. The movement is, I guess, fine. It's a little bit floaty, but it gets the job done. I love the fact that terrain matters, by the way. I'll try and show you a bit here. Okay, so this goes along the river, and over here now I can't see for some reason, even though I was up here. The map is blurred out. Not quite sure why this happens, because I can clearly see what's here, but I can't up here. I would have preferred to keep the map at least somewhat visible. Unfortunately, I can't do that. Either way, though, there is a mountain here, and you cannot go over it. You need to go around. Now, this is not just a thing that, oh, okay, in order to get from here to there, I need to go around the mountain. No, this is tactical, because this means that enemies from here cannot get to this camp through the mountain. They have to go around using the road as well. This means that were I to clear out this forest camp, and I've already cleared out this prison up here, so, you know, maybe there's another camp over here, but generally speaking, this mountainside will keep me protected from this fort. It'll be very difficult for the enemies to get to here. They'll have to go around. So this mountain is very useful on so many levels, and I love the fact that you can't just really cheese it and scale it with horses or with something like you can in Skyrim. Terrain matters. I mean, there's a ton of these little details that just draw you into the game. And there is a sense of accomplishment every time you kill someone, every time you loot something. There is a huge variety of items for you to pick up. Weapon parts, food, medicine, ammo, weapons, actual weapons, and then let's not even start with the resources, from flax to wood to stones on the ground to everything, right? To some more advanced materials, leather, hide. All of these things useful for different things, and none of them really mandatory at the same time. It's not like someone's going to go up to you and say, oh, you have to pick up this many bear asses in order to do something. I mean, there are some requirements like that. For example, if you go over to the camp, in order to upgrade, you need 20 boar husks, 20 stag pelts, and 5 buffalo pelts. But it's not like you need to kill 20 boars for that, or to kill 20 stags for that. You can buy them. You can loot them somewhere. You can do all those things, and you can kind of ignore your camp as well. Now, I'm not sure if the game ends if you just lose the camp. I'm pretty sure it doesn't if someone like comes over and kills everyone in your camp. I'm pretty sure the game doesn't end, and that it just lets you liberate warriors from somewhere and create a new camp. Though I haven't tested that out, I couldn't really get anyone to come and take my camp. Either way, I think that's how it works. But even if it doesn't, it doesn't really matter all that much. Let's equip this revolver, reload it. And then I think what I'm gonna do.
I know where it is. Wait, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Please stop. I'll tell you where he is. He's over there.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, quite cruel. Quite cruel. Though one would argue not as cruel as what they're doing to the natives and etc. etc. I don't want to get into that right now. Anyways, all these people are just here to do their jobs effectively, so let's not exactly play the whole holier than thou game. But you know, they've noticed that I mostly attack at night, and during the day. So at night they haven't put too much in the way of guards. Big mistake, because I can change when I attack. And I think because I'm gonna get rid of all of these guards and stuff here during the night. I don't think people will... Oh, hello. Chief, please don't kill me. I know who sent Felix. Buckley's going to destroy the camp. I can tell you where it is. Please, please, please don't kill me.
Wait, please. I'll tell you where it is.
Yeah, you can tell me, but That's not exactly going to save your life. Railway, dream or reality? Very much a reality, unfortunately for me. Let's grab all this. I don't want this, I don't think. Yeah, terrible range. Not very loud, though. And a good bit of damage. Almost as much as the repeater I lost some time ago. But, like, look at this. This is what I wanted to show you. There's also valuables, which I forgot to mention. These things are, as you can see, most of this stuff is dirt cheap, but you can sell it. You can trade with it, you can sell it, and you can get other stuff for it. Cool. Frontier, whiskey, some more ammo is what I'm interested in. Everything else is kind of meh. Oiler, I guess. Okay, and I'm overburdened already. Lovely. So I do have to compliment the game on changing its UI a little bit. Now, there's, I think, still a little bit of work to be done with the UI and everything, but at the same time, it is a heck of a lot better than it used to be. It used to feel a lot more cluttered, a lot more generally unprofessional. That is gone for the most part. It's a lot more intuitive, it's a lot easier to use, and yeah. The one thing that I don't really like, the crafting menu, there's way too many of these to look through. I think this could be done a lot more, well, a lot more easily, made a lot more easy on the eye and a lot more manageable. For example, there's no scroll bar here either, you just sort of go through with a mouse wheel. Not ideal, and a lot of these you have to unlock using skill points, which you're getting from basically everything you do. There is also, which I completely forgot to mention, there is also this counter, which is resistance progression and allows you to see what's going on. So 10% of the land is claimed, if you will, by the Westerners, 5% is claimed by the Mede, the rest is wild territory. As the game progresses, this will, the wild territory will disappear and this will increase. Hopefully this will increase more than this, but, you know, that sort of depends on me, I suppose. What I would like are some more options as to the speed at which things increase. I think that would be very helpful, and generally a lot more, well, not a lot more, but a few more options as to the difficulty of the game, the progression of the game, maybe how much and how quickly you earn SP, and so on. I think would have helped the game a lot, but all of these things, I think, are something that will come eventually, right? With updates and with more time in the oven, as they say. Currently, the problem are bugs. I also find, okay, maybe in first person, the camera is expected to be a little bit wonky, but in third person, the camera is sometimes a little bit wonky too, especially if you're hiding behind cover and stuff like that. That is also kind of a problem, and it happens very often. I've seen enemies walk into walls and really just be all-around generally useless. In that most of the time in combat they'll stay where they are, and very, very rarely will they actually do something like flank and so on. They can do it, but they just do it so rarely that it's... yeah. Anyways, don't need that rifle. Anyways, enemy awareness grows. This has been liberated, and we have 3 more warriors, right? Yes, we do. Okay, cool, lovely. Obviously, we're attracting a lot of attention for ourselves. Might want to calm down a little bit, might want to relocate, so as not to incur the wrath of local authorities and stuff. Maybe that's something we want to think about. I suppose these beds belong to the people that I've already killed. Either way, another thing that I would kind of like to see in the game, and I think the game needs pretty darn badly, is some sort of indicator as to what is lootable and what is not. Indoors, it's not a problem. You know, boxes, chests, drawers, some stuff like that, lootable. Jacket on the wall, lootable? Okay, I wouldn't expect it to be, but fine. Not a problem. But in the wilderness, for a chief that's spent his entire life in the wilderness, yes, a young hickory tree or a particular useful bush or herb is very distinguishable and noteworthy. I'm a filthy European, I've spent most of my life in school and university and stuff, and I have no idea what type of tree this is versus what type of tree that is. My point is, none of this really stands out for me. Now, okay, with playing, I've learned that the color of the leaves here means this is flax. I know that this is also lootable because it has pretty much the same color. It's also flax. But, yeah, okay, flax. What about other herbs? Is there something else here that's lootable? Well, this is kind of colorful, right? It's fireweed. Yeah, colorful stuff, usually lootable, but hickory isn't really colorful. I mean, is that lootable, or is that lootable? This isn't, but this is. Again, this is not something that's groundbreaking. With time, you learn all of these things, and you get used to it, and hell, I think after a couple of dozen hours in the game, I would turn off all the UI elements and play it a little bit more immersively, but at the same time, I hesitate to use the word realistic. I think some sort of sense like you get in, I think it's mostly the Assassin's Creed games nowadays, where it highlights items that you can loot at a press of a button. I think an option to have something like that would be useful. Maybe it's just me though, but you know, I just think that it might be useful. Either way, let's see if I can craft anything somewhat important for me. I would also like some type of armor if that's possible. I don't think we have any, or at the very least clothing. But I don't think I can do, or I don't think I can create anything along those lines quite yet. Yeah, don't think so. Tell you what we can do though. We can go to here and see what's wrong with my health, and apparently it says nothing. But I'm pretty sure there is something wrong with me. Okay, let's use the distilled water. Yeah, that will heal me. No, I think I just need more health from food and other such things. Either way, it is a very, very fun game. It is a game with a future as bright as the sun, and I mean this without a hint of irony or anything. This, to me, is Red Dead Redemption sans the story and just the open world, the atmosphere, the gameplay, and so on. Now, don't get me wrong, probably my favorite part about Red Dead Redemption was the story, and you know, I still have a keen sense of doom and depression from it, from the end of the main storyline, or quote-unquote main storyline, because it does continue after that, but let's not spoil it too much for people that haven't played. Anyways, this is like that sans that, and just the overall feel of the frontier, the West, and the guns. Oh, good God, the guns. I love it. I genuinely do. I mean, look at that! How'd you not love that? That is freaking awesome. Of course, it does have its problems. It does have its bugs, and generally, even as you move now, you see how stuttery it is, and aiming is, look at that. Look at that stutter. That's not my performance. That's how the game aims. In third person, it's a little bit better, but not really. Plus, I think you're a... Okay, let's go from here. I think you're a little bit more accurate in first person as well. Yeah, look at that. So I'm going to hit somewhere between the sack there, and in first person I'm going to hit the sack. Straight on, pretty much. It's not that big of a difference, but at long range it kind of is. But I like that. I like playing with first person anyway. Thing is... yeah, that doesn't go anywhere. Thing is, this is developed by a really small studio. However, I do see a lot of potential in it. It just does need more work, and I haven't even gotten to the biggest problem of the game. The saving. Now, I'm going to save and exit to menu, and the reason I can save is because the camp is cleared out. So let's exit to the main menu, and let's load up that same game again. And in doing so, I'm going to show you something. Oh boy. Yeah. One slot per character, per campaign, per whatever you want to call it. Yeah. What if this save file gets corrupt? You delete it and you start a new one. Now, there's a lot of progression in this game, and I would be hella mad if I've collected some fine weaponry and you know, liberated a large chunk of land and the file's just corrupted. Now, the devs recommend that you never alter 4 out of the game, and that you never suddenly quit it, that you always save, let it save, wait for a couple of seconds, then exit in order to stop this from happening. But it'll happen at random sometimes. I haven't had that problem personally, but I haven't played much of the game either, so... yeah. I also had my horse die for no reason whatsoever, and I was running down the road, it hit a rock, it tumbled, flew up into the sky, not like at the skybox limit, but like, I don't know, like maybe 5, 6, 10 meters up into the sky, fell back down, died, I took a bunch of damage too, ended up deleting the save file, starting again. There's bugs like that, and it doesn't necessarily completely ruin the game. It's still playable, but it does need a lot of work. And if you're not willing to contend with stuff like that, if you're not willing to contend with a little bit of floatiness, a little bit of problems here and there as you go along, I would recommend that you wait for a few months, a year and a half, 2 maybe, and see where the game comes along after, how the game comes along after that. If you are willing to deal with some of those problems in order to get into something like this early and to experience the huge array of different things that you can do, and really, I think the combat really shines in this game. Despite its quirks and its floatiness, you can assemble a warband. This is more mid to late game strategies, but you can assemble a warband of 10, 15 warriors, maybe even more, but you know, let's within a reasonable time of playing this, you can assemble a warband of 10, 15 warriors. You can give them weapons and ammo that you've collected. Hell, you can buy some weapons and ammo and stuff. And you can send them out to raid a fort or attack a more densely populated part of the map. And you can liberate it, free it, or fight back for it, or however they phrase it in the game. And you can have these proper large-scale fights and skirmishes at medium to long range against the Westerners, or you can sneak in there like I did with the lumber camp and just kill them all while they're sleeping. A little bit more efficient, a little less violent. Huge, you know, just huge number of choices. It is a fun game. It is a superbly fun game. I love it. I thoroughly recommend it, but it's held back by its kind of jankiness. Now, that said, this is 0.09, version 0.09, so by the time we get to this version 1.0, I'm sure, if we get to version 1.0, I'm sure all of this will be a lot more fluid, a lot more enjoyable. Hell, even a couple of versions from now, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of improvements, but the reason I'm making this video is sort of to compare it to how it was before. And it's a lot more professional, it's a lot more playable, it's a lot more intuitive, it's a lot easier to get into, and heck, it performs a lot better as well, so yeah. Definitely recommend the game if you can deal with some of the quirks around it, I suppose. You can also customize your experience to a fair degree, though, like I said, I would like a few more options here. But yeah, you can increase the reaction time of the enemies, which will probably make the game a little... Well, obviously will make it harder, but it will probably make the game a little bit more realistic too. And a little bit more, or maybe it'll improve the flow of combat a little bit. Realistic damage, realistic needs, etc., etc. You can turn them on or off. I would like to see progression in terms of how quickly settlements expand and stuff like that here. But at any rate, it's a great game. It's a great game. I'm going to be playing it on and off here and there, I think. And I'll tell you if there's, you know, if something comes up, I'll make another video about it. But so far, yeah. Quirky, but really good, and I cannot emphasize this enough. An incredibly bright future ahead of it if they just put in the time and effort, and honestly, if they have money, if they have resources to actually finish this project and see it through. And for that, I suppose it's up to us to spread awareness of the game and try and get more people to get a look at it and to buy it and to support the development. I truly believe in this project. Now, it's kind of, whatchamacallit, it's kind of irresponsible, I guess, to support something this early on in development and say, you know what, I'm going to stand behind this, but for its current asking price, and you can get it on sale and stuff as well, it's not that much, and you do get a relatively good product. I mean, it's quirky as all hell, and you know, it has its problems, of course, but you do get a pretty darn good product. This isn't a, you know, pipe dream or something, or the illusion of a game in the future. No, you get the game right now, and it's not bad. I mean, it's good, but the potential is surreal, right? The potential is surreal, at least for me. Obviously, some people prefer more narrative-driven stories. Some people prefer... I guess we can call them the Rockstar style of open world, with more missions and sort of stuff to do in between missions, and you know, goofing around with achievements and, I guess, activities in between missions, and then, you know, really sort of focusing primarily on the storyline. That's also fair. For me, though, something like this is perfect, with a sort of tactical layer of a grand scheme or a grand problem that you need to tackle, and then microing your way to dealing with the great problem, which is, you know, here it's fighting for your land, and the micro level, I suppose, would be everything that you craft, collect, and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's great, honestly. It's really great, and that's about it. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Like, subscribe below if you enjoyed the video, and want to stay tuned with the rest of the content that I produce on the channel, and there's going to be quite a bit of content. Until next time, have fun, take care, and bye-bye.